What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So 2 days ago, I saw a video by Compton Rick Rock, right? And it had to do with this young rapper by the name of Beezy. He was doing an interview with Rodney in LA. It was Beezy, who's a Compton Crip, and he had his homie with him, and his homie was a Crip from South Central. I don't know his name. I didn't get that part, right? And Rodney in LA was doing his thing like he always does, right? Conducting an interview with these guys. And again, these were two Crips, two youngsters, man. These guys look like kids. And they're right there doing their thing. And there's a lot of content being put out about this incident. And I waited and I wanted to let the dust settle a little bit. But I feel like I just want to put in my 2 cents, right? These two youngsters, these two young Crips, they got pushed up on by some vatos from barrios. And I keep hearing everybody say it was the Avenues that pushed up on them. But you can clearly hear that there was 2 different barrios that were mentioned, okay? Beezy was answering a question from Rodney in LA, and you hear somebody say, "Where you vatos from?" Right? And they both bang their hoods. And you hear that same voice say, "Avenues gang." And then after he said Avenues gang, he said Avenidas, which is avenues in Spanish, right? And then you hear another separate voice say Azusa gang. So you have somebody from Nela, which is the avenues, and then you have somebody from the Valle, from the SGV, Azusa, right? And then you heard them, "Are you vatos rappers?" There was some disrespect, but I don't want to focus on that. Then they ask, "Are you vatos rappers?" They say, "Yeah, we're rappers." And they recognize Rodney in LA. And I'm assuming it was the vato from Azusa because he told Rodney from LA, "Hey, I saw you when you were in Bassett." I believe he said Bassett. And he said, "Hey, when are you going to come to my neighborhood?" The fact that Rodney in LA was there diffused what could have been a really horrific situation. Possibly. I don't know who had anything on them, if they had anything on them. I'm not saying who would have won, who would have lost, who would have lived, who would have died. But it was alleviated because it was recognized that, hey, these vatos are just doing business. They're not here banging. They're not tagging on nothing. And one of them obviously saw it as an opportunity to invite Rodney to his neighborhood. Like, hey, let's do something in my neighborhood. What I felt was most unfortunate was this. If you guys go and look at the Rodney in LA, the whole clip, the whole video, the interview, or you go to Compton Rick Rock, which is where I saw it, man, that youngster Beezy was showing the raza a gang of love. Just prior to these vatos walking up and jamming them, Rodney and Ali asked him, "Hey, how is it with the gangs in Compton?" And Beezy said, "Oh, you got Mexicans from black hoods and you got blacks from Mexican barrios." He pulled up the sleeve of his shirt, of his hoodie, and he showed he had a tattoo of a Smurf. Before that, he said, I got love for all my CVs, all the Compton barrios. That's what CVs are, Compton barrios. It was not disrespectful whatsoever to the raza, even though I'm sure his hood probably beefs it with at least one barrio. He was respectful and said, I got love for all the CVs, all the Compton barrios. Then he pulled up his sleeve and he showed a Smurf with a 5 on it. He said that was his homie. That tattoo was for his homie from Compton Barrio 155. And that was the moment when these vatos walked up. They weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. I don't know what barrio's close by. But in my experience, prior to that, there was somebody in a car and they said, oh, that's just a smoker. They misread the situation. Whoever that dude was, he may have been the one from the avenues. He may have been the one from Masusa. Whichever one it was, probably saw the other one, was like, hey, Hons, hey, we got these vatos over here that they're not from around here, Hons. Let's jam them. But there was actually more than two dudes when the camera panned over there. I don't know how many there was. I don't remember. But to me, it's not important. What's important is BZ was showing a lot of love, man, to the raza. I hope that incident doesn't change his mind. Now, I'm sure that those two young Crips in their hoods, their homies are probably upset. And that's their hood business. And I'm sure that when the raza saw that, they're probably like, damn, hey, them youngsters were showing love. But they did what they had to do. I think for a lot of people that aren't from the streets, for a lot of people that ain't from California, they don't understand that it could have got ugly really fast, but a pass was given because they recognized Rodney. And they know that dude ain't trying to do no bullshit. He's a businessman, and if he's there, whoever he's talking to, whoever he's got the camera on, they're businessmen too. And everybody's trying to get their money, promote their business. It's unfortunate that now, I saw a thing where Rodney had to defend himself. That people are saying that, and you know what? It might be trolls, it might not, I don't know. But people are saying that Rodney in LA set that whole thing up. He was very passionate in his explanation, as he should be. How would that help his business to do that? How would it help his business to do that and then nothing comes of it? The viral moment would have been if something would have really, really gone down. So hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. People will understand this was just a fluke. Me personally, I've said it already in videos. I'm not a fan of hood vlogs. But these two young Crips weren't in their hood, which I respect that. I'm not a fan of inviting cameras into the barrio or into somebody's barrio in their hood, showing them like, hey, yeah, we be kicking it right here, you know, because you know what? Maybe the enemigos know about that spot. But if they didn't, they do now. Maybe the cops don't know about that spot. And if they didn't, they do now. They become areas of interest, areas of focus for your enemy as well as law enforcement. So again, these guys, these young Crips, they weren't in their hood. I think they try to do it, you know, like, hey, we can't bring you in the hood, but we want to do this with you. And again, they were very respectful. You can tell they're very young. But it's an unfortunate thing that it got hostile for a minute. It's good for us as content creators, but I think that I haven't seen anyone else point out the fact that them two young Crips were showing love to the raza. And that even when the raza pulled up initially, ready to do whatever, then when they realized, hey, man, these dudes ain't here to harm nobody, it was all love. It was all respect. To me, That goes a long way. I don't care what anybody's saying that when they try to spew that hatred between black and brown, you didn't hear them raza disrespect their race. You didn't hear the blacks disrespect the raza. It was just gangbanging shit. And I've been saying that for a long time. When all these people, especially dudes that ain't from Southern California, they keep talking about all the racist this and the racist that. That was a real live incident right there. You heard dudes saying their hoods, their barrios, had nothing to do with race. It rarely does. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.